Christian pedophile, influencer. These are just a few of the accolades we could attribute to a one Katie Cruz, an online content creator with a decade in activism, dedicated to supporting the M.E.D.A.L cause through the Christian lens.
M.E.D.A.L, a category for anyone with sexual feelings toward children.
Oh, fuck me. This is going to be a long one. In this video, I will be exposing her beyond radical beliefs, her attempt to make a 10-year-old child her girlfriend, and allegedly, emphasis on allegedly, exposing the real-life identity of the online hellspawn that is Katie Cruz. Buckle your seatbelts, here we go.
What we do here is go.
I first became aware of Katie Cruz when I was looking into the now infamous MAP Camp of 2024. MAP Camp was a minor attracted persons convention scheduled to be held in Plainfield, Vermont. Watch my other video to see how that shit went down. MAP Camp was spearheaded by a character known as M.E.D.A.L, someone I delved into in extensive detail. M.E.D.A.L runs an organization called M.E.D.A.L, which is MAP Equality, Dignity, and Liberation. Katie Cruz seems to work hand in hand to some degree with M.E.D.A.L and is a regular contributor to the newsletter of this organization. A columnist known for such bangers as "Why Did God Create Philes?" and "Is Minor Attracted a Sin in the Christian Faith?" In M.E.D.A.L's first newsletter, M.E.D.A.L thanks a number of MAPs, including Katie herself. M.E.D.A.L says, "We have met weekly since October 2023. Creating minorattracted.org has been our biggest project. On top of that, we've been plugging away on research and prep work for some activism projects. We have far more projects in planning than we do projects that are active. We've even engaged in some direct action when needed to stand up for one of our members. I'm incredibly impressed with the valuable work we've done, but in my opinion, the best we've done together is ending our weekly meetings with a dance party that lasts for one song." Now, I don't know if that is to say that all of M.E.D.A.L's columnists are included in these weekly meetings. I imagine not all of these people are located in the Vermont area, but the point is that Katie Cruz is part of an organization of like-minded, minor-attracted persons who are pushing this ideology as activism. What is, of course, an immediately noteworthy and colorful detail of Katie Cruz as a character is, of course, her Christian faith. Now, many people have espoused the Christian faith who have turned out to, behind the curtain, be terrible, horrible, evil, abusive, rapey type monsters. What's a little bit more of a rare drop is someone who holds both philia and Christianity as being proud identities in tandem. So, according to Katie Cruz, Christianity is not incompatible with minor attraction. Contrary to popular belief, there is nothing in the Bible that forbids it. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians reads, "If any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, if she passes the flower of her age, and needs so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry." Flower of her age, in my belief, means reached menarche, which is the first stage of puberty in girl children. I interpret this passage to mean that once they are at that age, they can be married, and for a marriage to be valid, it must be consecrated with sexual intercourse. Thus, a sexual relationship with a pubescent child is not morally wrong, as long as it's in the confines of marriage. Jesus said we must be like children to enter the kingdom of God. Children are pure and innocent. How can you not love something that is so God-like? My love for children is a love for God, but just like I won't desecrate God, I won't desecrate a child. Here is Katie Cruz's prayer of the map. She's inventing prayers now. I speak peace and love, acceptance and understanding, health, prosperity, and power. I speak liberation from the forces that deny our right to love. I speak courage to stand against adversity. I speak all of this for MAPs and youth alike. I speak unity and collaboration within the MAP community. I speak a revolution, our Stonewall. Let it flow, set us free. I speak all of this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Katie Cruz's version of Christianity permeates all aspects of her life, even her pedophilia, so much so that she considers pedophilia itself to be, quote, her ministry. She says, I joined the MAP community as a young, naive teen. I was hopelessly in love with little girls, and the prospect of a lifetime of loneliness seemed inevitable and devastating. I had radical ideas of legalizing relationships between adults and tween girls and looked for ways to be able to spend time with them, though I soon realized these types of relationships aren't feasible. I knew nothing about this orientation, and I hated the idea that I was a pedophile, and went through the 5 stages of MAP grief. Over the years, I've met a lot of people who have guided me and inspired me to reflect philosophically on minor attraction. I've learned a lot about myself and about human nature. I have had many MAPs confide in me for comfort and advice, and I don't know how I do it. I'm hardly a great communicator, but the right words always seem to come to me. And every time I help another MAP, I'm so fulfilled. I finally found my purpose in life. I'm still on this MAP journey myself, still learning. I believe I can take this experience and use it for good in this world. The MAP community is where I belong, and helping people with this orientation is my ministry. What does this ministry look like exactly? Well, here's an example. This is on Katie Cruz's blog. I believe it was originally her comment in a Reddit thread of someone who was confiding anonymously that they were struggling with being attracted to minors. Now, I will hand you that one could have a ministry of sorts in which they talk to people who are struggling with this very bad attraction and trying to guide people away from it. That's something that we're about to see attempted. However, there are some similarities here between Katie Cruz and M.E.D.A.L of the aforementioned MAP camp fiasco, which is at times they will use language that appears like that is their goal, to help people resist temptations, as it were, in this case, attractions that could only result in harming a child if acted upon. However, as we delve deeper into Katie Cruz, we'll of course see a lot of doublespeak happening, because there will be other instances in which their entire goal is to justify being attracted to minors and acting upon those attractions. Okay, so back to Katie Cruz's advice to a struggling person with a minor attraction. As a human being, and especially as a Christian, we're all going to be given temptation from time to time. We usually can't help the temptation that comes our way. Being tempted doesn't make you evil, doesn't make you a monster. It makes you human. So far, so good. That's fair. We're all tempted, whether it's to steal that watch on the table while your friend isn't looking, or maybe it's being tempted to run someone off the road who is being a jerk. Okay, that's a little more psychotic, but I'm going to withhold judgment. Our temptation happens to be acting negatively on our attraction to children. You seem to be overwhelmingly tested, and you passed the test. You didn't act negatively upon that attraction. You are not an evil pedophile or monster. Even if you had touched her inappropriately, it wouldn't necessarily make you evil. I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. It means you are human and you messed up. Everyone sins. It's human nature. It's how we feel about it afterwards that makes us evil or not. It's how you feel about it afterwards that makes you evil or not. There's something very interesting about Katie Cruz's particular theology in this way. It's entirely self-centered. What defines what she would consider to be sin has solely to do with whether that's a, oh, no, God said don't do that thing. There is absolutely zero regard for the effects your actions may have on, in this case, a fucking child. I learned in a Bible study that our gifts come from our greatest struggles. Instead of seeing your orientation as a struggle, see it as a gift. You love children. Children, especially babies, are meant to receive nurture, love, and affection. You probably have more compassion for them. What can you do to make a child's life better? There is nothing wrong with withholding, cuddling, tickling, and kissing babies and small children. Parents and caretakers do it all the time. Yeah, but there's a difference though, isn't there? If someone left the baby with you, obviously you are perceived as a caretaker for them. Show that child some attention, let her know she is loved. You may be the only one in some child's life who does. Now, if you're anything like me, you're going to be asking right now, why in God's name would anyone advocate that someone with minor attraction go into the field of babysitting? And it is with deep regret I have to inform you that in the industry of useless bachelor's degrees in creative writing, this is what we call Foreshadowing. More on that later. At this point, I would like to establish as a fact Katie Cruz's intent to harm. These last few days, I've been daydreaming about having a 9-year-old girlfriend. She'd come over and hang out, playing video games and watching Netflix with me. I'd make us a good meal of comfort food. We'd laugh and joke and have a good time like romantic besties. While watching movies or shows, she'd lie across me and look up with those innocent, please love me eyes. I'd then pull her up on my lap and we wrap arms around each other as she melts in my arms. She would give me a wet but playful smooch before laying her head on my chest, and I'd kiss the top of her head. We would then fall asleep holding each other. I would feel so loved and safe in that moment. Well, that's good. I hope you continue to feel safe, Katie. I consider myself a freedom of choice map. I believe everyone should have the right to full body autonomy and can choose who, when, how, and to what extent they wish to engage in a relationship or not engage in one, regardless of age. I believe that everyone, including minors, should be empowered to make that decision for themselves. There was a girl I used to fool around with when we were in high school. Her name was Chelsea. She lived with her mom, and dad was almost never around. She knew about my orientation. She told me she had a 10-year-old half-sister who lived with her dad. She said I would have loved her, that if she was living with them, she'd let me take her on dates and that I could have her. Her words, not mine. She said she trusted me because I always treated her well. When she realized I was never going to commit to her, she started dating other people and we stopped fooling around. I feel bad that she wanted more and I inadvertently let her on. I never met her half-sister. Thank God Almighty. Probably for the best because I was young, dumb, and horny, and Chelsea might have encouraged us, 10-year-old half-sister and me, to fool around, or at the very least wouldn't have stopped us. I'd be on the registry. Chelsea, you can kick rocks. What a fucking bitch. All right? Can I get a bunch of Chelsea, you a bitch? Chelsea, you a fat bitch in the comments, please?
Hey there, it's Maddie, your map-loving friend, and Pride Month is just around the corner. Are you ready to show your colors and celebrate love, acceptance, and equality? Well, I've got the perfect place for you, Map Merch Shop, the ultimate online store for map and map-adjacent communities. At Map Merch Shop we've got everything you need to shine bright during Pride Month and beyond. We've got awesome shirts, beautiful flags, colorful mugs, and so much more, all created by incredible artists like the Maddest Hatter, M.E.D.A.L, Acrylic Fairy, and Katie Cruz. But here's the best part, when you purchase select items, a portion of the proceeds goes straight to amazing map charities. It's shopping with a purpose, and it feels absolutely fantastic. From stylish flags to awesome mugs, keychains to stickers, we've got everything you need to show off your true colors. And by supporting our artists, you're helping spread love, acceptance, and equality. Get ready for Pride Month in style and make a positive impact at the same time. Visit our website at mapmerch.shop and let the shopping adventure begin. Remember, love is love, and everyone deserves to be celebrated. Let's make this Pride Month the most colorful and inclusive one yet.
New segment alert, okay? Slyboy goes, map merch shopping. That doesn't feel appropriate to even joke about. I can't do that. I'm gonna cut this segment. No, I'm not. I stand with children blood mat posters with some AI Palestinian children. The proceeds of this item will be donated to children's charity of your choice. The listed organizations do not endorse nor affiliate with Map Merch Shop. Well, thank God. ... Allegedly. You're really making a great case for yourself here. This is a good tie-in because I will ... allegedly connect Katie Cruz to a one very real in a few short minutes here. Stay tuned. ... Allegedly, of course. Apologies to the stock photo model who this got photoshopped on. I feel like you caught a stray here. I feel bad for you. But anyway, we got a minor attracted persons flag with a AR-15 imposed upon it, and my right to exist is not up for debate. By the way, if you're like in love with the fit of this awesome black t-shirt, but you don't necessarily want to co-sign pedophiles, might I suggest you an alternative? Exactly $0 of this will go to pedophile charities. And that's not something that everybody printing t-shirts can advertise. I have to pay $5 a month for the Shopify thingy. So if I don't make at least $15 worth of sales, I will cry and take the store down. So you have been warned. The link will be in the description, or it'll be down in the bottom of the video in the integrated. I don't know where. I have not looked into it. I haven't actually set the store up. By the time I put this video up, the store will be up. So it'll be somewhere in the description area how to buy one. All right. Now, the pedophiles do have one up on me, which is that they have pedophile bikinis, and I do not yet have a Sly Boy bikini. But I don't know, sign a petition or something. If there's a demand, I'll meet the demand. Now, as you and I grow gradually closer to unraveling the mystery behind the dark persona of Katie Cruz, as known online, we must come to the saga of Lucy. Now, Lucy is a pseudonym. It's not the girl's real name. I know this to be the case from certain sources I have talked to, as well as Katie Cruz herself.
Lucy. Don't put in anything that you're writing so that her name isn't public.
Katie Cruz went to high school. Two of her high school friends married each other. They had a daughter, Lucy. Katie Cruz remained close friends with these people as they were raising their family. Now, what is disturbing is that these two high school friends of Katie Cruz were aware of her quote-unquote sexuality. According to Katie Cruz, it was apparently considered a detail disturbing but not friendship-breaking, light enough to the point that it was the butt of jokes amongst the friend group.
And I came out, said I love little girls. And, well, that was kind of dumb. I've lost like 2/3 of my friends. Some of my family disowned me after that initial thing. Like, most of my closest friends, they stayed with me. I became the butt of every joke and stuff, and I didn't mind that. Like, oh yeah, I did it before puberty does. It wasn't an issue. They accepted me. Until they all started having daughters. And then it just kind of became passive aggressiveness, dirty looks, and lots of little fights and things. And eventually, my closest friends, the parents of Lucy, they just ghosted me.
The Lucy Saga, as I'm coining it, is a series of love letters, musings, poems, lamentations, and fantasies that span the years of 2018 to 2025, all of which detail Katie Cruz's absolute virulent sexual obsession with the young child that is pseudonymed Lucy. In November of 2021, Katie Cruz writes, "It'll be 8 years before she's 18. I don't know if I'll get to see her again before she's 18 or even after. Am I delusional to wait for her that long with no guarantee we'll end up together in the end? I really don't want to be with anyone else, though." So obviously, if it's 8 years before she's 18 in the year 2021, that means in 2021, Lucy is 10 years old. As I mentioned, the first we hear of this saga in the archive of Katie Cruz's blog is in 2018, meaning that Katie Cruz begins writing of her sexual obsession with this child when the child is 7 years old. Let's go to that genesis point. Probably not even the genesis point, just the point where she begins sharing her thoughts online. "I went over to my friend's house, and as soon as I came in, Lucy came running to me, wrapped her arms around me and her legs around my leg. I bent down and kissed her on the forehead and hugged her. She asked if I wanted to see her toy house that she was painting, and of course I did. Gonna be an artist when she grows up. A little further down, she wanted me to pick her up again. She was so soft and cuddly. Her mother told her she needed to brush her teeth, so I carried her to the bathroom and let her grab her toothbrush. She started getting heavy, so I put her down. We ended the night with her climbing on the couch behind me and wrapping her arms around me before she went to bed. This is the most cuddles I've had in a long time. I love her so much. I hope I can see her more often." So clearly this is a case where she has a very close relationship with the parents of this girl. She's very trusted. For some unbeknownst reason, given that according to Katie, these people are aware that she is attracted to children. The Lucy Saga consists of, I believe to my count, 37 different blog entries. Katie has written prolifically about this child. Yesterday, I seen her again. We went outside and drew on the sidewalk with chalk. A little later that evening, we were back inside and she came and sat on my lap. I wrapped my arms around her and held her for almost an hour. She was so soft, her hair in my face. She smelled so good. At one point, she started trying to tickle me, so I pinned her down and blew raspberries on her belly. She then got up, her face in mine, and was sticking her tongue out. I kissed her, and it was kind of like we were making out. She started trying to lick my hand and started sucking on my fingers. Honestly, I thought it was weird, but it was kind of cute too. If you're about to click off the video, that's totally fine. I'm trying to walk a fine line here of exposing how fucked up this shit is, but not being too gratuitous with it. Because to a certain degree, like, we don't need to delve too deep into this fucked up mind. To do so would probably even be against YouTube TOS. So I'm going to try to tread lightly. If something feels too aggressive to you, I apologize. I'm going to try to broach the subject matter as tastefully as I am able to. We have an account where Katie Cruz and Lucy apparently gave each other back massages. Again, an important detail of this saga is that Lucy's parents apparently held Katie Cruz as a close friend despite being allegedly aware of her, again, quote-unquote, orientation. They were so trusting of her, in fact, that Katie Cruz was Lucy's babysitter for many, many instances. I've been thinking about trying to date an adult, but after spending time with Lucy, I realize I already have everything I want. She fills the girlfriend and companion role for me. If only I could have her every day and sleep in each other's arms, I'd be set. We have a very strange account reuniting with her in the afterlife, where Katie has a fantasy in which she describes entering the kingdom of heaven and seeing Lucy there as a child, and she is also a child, and Jesus is there. In this fantasy, Jesus tells Katie, "You showed great love and compassion for children all of your life, and especially for Lucy. You resisted the temptation of lust. Your greatest gift came from your greatest temptation. You and Lucy formed a bond that could never be broken. Now you will be her guide and mentor for all eternity. She will be your pillar to lean on for love and companionship. You are soulmates." Fucking sorry. New year, new me. 2025, Slyboy's gonna stop telling people to online. We have more entries in which Katie Cruz talks about Lucy initiating foreplay, which sounds like Lucy was just a kid who was kind of roughhousing with someone who is a close friend of the family, and Katie is interpreting that as foreplay. All of this culminates in a fatal blog entry from August of 2020. On Katie's blog, this is the first entry we get describing the fatal rift between Lucy and Katie. Right now, we have limited details about what caused this exactly, but we know that it ultimately boils down to Katie's parents beginning to realize the sexual obsession that Katie has with Lucy. More on this later in the video. For now, let's work with Katie's testimony. "I just got home from work. I'm laying in bed, and I'm all emotional missing Lucy. What did I do to deserve this?" That's an excellent question. How do you get over someone you love that is taken away from you? It's not even like she was a girlfriend who dumped me. It's her parents. How do you cope with that? Maybe I'm sorry. I didn't mean that one. All right, it's getting gratuitous at this point. We kind of have a series of spam posts from here on out. "I'm in love with her. I love and care deeply about her. I know we'll never be able to have a traditional romantic relationship, get married, and grow old together. But I want to be her friend, someone she can talk to, a shoulder to cry on, and I know someday she'll meet some boy or maybe some girl who sweep her off her feet, and I'll just have to smile and nod approval before I go home." The next update is, "Added Lucy as a beneficiary to my life insurance policy. Put a clause in my will that if she's under 18 at the time of my demise, it will go into a trust fund that her parents can't touch. That way they don't smoke all of her money away, and maybe she can do better for herself. My friends say it's a nice thought, but probably futile. They're probably right, but people have done stupider things for love. It's been a year and a half since I last seen her, but the pain I feel is still heavy. I don't know how to move on or get over her. It's not like we ended on bad terms. Her family just pulled us apart. You know, I love her so much, I'd be willing to wait until she's 18 for a chance of a relationship. Well, that's self-sacrificial love if I've ever seen it. At this point in the story, a new player enters the chat. This would be a TikTok creator by the name of Riada Araes? Riada, whatever your name is. I know we've had a little bit of conversation. I apologize. I have no idea how the fuck I'm supposed to pronounce that. Her TikTok bio states she is a mom, a CSA survivor, and advocate, using my voice for those who can't yet. Riri became aware of Katie Cruz a while ago and started investigating this person. Here is her first TikTok looking into the curious case of pedo-Christian Katie Cruz.
Massive trigger warning for these things for this entire video. I really need your guys' help though. This is a Patreon run by a woman that is selling merchandise that is map themed, or in other words, themed. And I've often talked about my disdain with the renaming of to minor attracted person. And this is at the root of that disdain. Because of people like this who are clearly pushing pride for their attractions and whose main agenda is obviously the normalization of it. But I need you to stick with me because this gets worse. So this woman is actually all over the place in that community. She is staff member on many forums that are MAP support groups that were initiated by organizations that claim to be child abuse prevention organizations, but they are not. That's a whole topic for another day. But this woman is all over them. She's staff members, admins for these forums, and she is very vocal about her age of attraction, as well as her obsession with this little girl named Lucy. This woman has some extremely disturbing ideas around children, and I am so scared for that little girl. Katie Cruz, who she goes by online, is not her real name. Most people that involve themselves on these forums and are openly like this do not use their real names. What I'm hoping is that if we can push this video out there, maybe the parents of this child can come across it, put two and two together and realize that this is the person that they used to know, and they can be more aware that there is literally a person out there waiting for their child to turn of age. I am desperate to get this video in front of them, and even more desperate to talk to them because I have tons and tons of evidence, I guess you could call it, as to the way this woman thinks about their child. Please help me. Please interact with this. Please push it as far as you can. We need to find these parents.
This got a little bit of traction on TikTok, which led to a few internet sleuths uncovering some useful information.
Sometimes I really do love what this platform can do. Let me tell you how I found them. So obviously I posted this video yesterday basically as a plea for anyone with any information. This morning, I woke up to a very long, detailed message from this lovely person. They had already apparently been watching this Katie for a while as well, and had gathered some information, including someone that they thought could possibly be Katie. They quite literally gave me the last piece of what I was needing to put this all together, and I am so thankful for them. So after taking that information and sending it to my group of people that look into things behind the scenes, these lovely people, I started digging into who they thought this Katie was, which was this Cali Miller. I scoured that thing. I mean, they had like 15,000 tweets. I went through almost every single one of them. Katie is really good about not posting kind of personal or linking information, except for little things like likes and dislikes. But Cali, on the other hand, is terrible at it. So bad that I was able to prove that they are the same person just by the photos that they posted on their Twitter alone. First example, this picture was posted by Katie Cruz of a merchandise that they had created of the MAP flag. Pay close attention to that wristband and to the belt and pants that they're wearing. Oh, also that wig. Cali posted pictures on their Twitter of them, and you could see a very similar wristband on their wrist. Not to mention This is Katie's picture. This is Callie's picture. Same belt, same pants. Also, this picture posted on Callie's kind of looks like that same wig, right?
So, first off, that does not look like the same wig whatsoever. I'm just going to say that. Also, someone wearing the same belt, not the end of the world. That was my first problem with all of this. Extremely rare look at editor Slyboy here. Sorry, I haven't done my makeup, but let's take a look at the full totality of her evidence connecting these two figures. I didn't quite include that initially, so here's the rest of it.
Okay, you can chalk those up to coincidence, whatever. This was posted on Katie's map profile that she has. Notice in the corner, down at the very bottom, all of the different apps. This picture was posted on Callie's Twitter. Look at that. Look at all those little apps down at the bottom. Let me put them side by side for you so you can clearly see here. This one up here is Katie's. This one down here is Callie's. Now look, how crazy is that? Those are all the exact same apps.
Okay, so we have Finder and Mail on both of them. That's obviously very common. So that's nothing. Safari, iMessages, Photo app, Contacts. These are all stock Apple apps, so that's not uncommon. Over here, we have some red folder icon on the far right side. Don't know what that is. And then a couple folders. We have Photoshop, OBS on both of them. We have this icon right here. I don't know what that is, but it's on both desktops. These all seem like very common apps. Photoshop, a lot of people happen to use Photoshop. I use Photoshop, and I'm not a pedophile, for what it's worth. So the totality of Rhee's findings at this point is that both Callie Miller and Katie Cruz have similar dark blue jeans, similar leather belts, and both use extremely popular Mac OS applications. Now, I want to track down this person as much as the next guy, but that's not enough for me. This is something I brought up with Rhee herself. I emailed her initially. She was kind enough to respond. We communicated both between email and Instagram DMs. I voiced my frustrations that the evidence put forth in the TikToks didn't seem robust enough to make a connection between Katie Cruz and Callie Miller. And the last thing I want to do is throw some random person from Indiana under the bus without concrete evidence. This is the most extreme thing you could accuse a person of being, a child predator. And anything absent of extremely overwhelming evidence, to me, is not sufficient to just be throwing somebody's real life identity out there as being connected to the online monstrosity that is Katie Cruz. Now, Rhee has told me that there is more evidence, but sharing it could complicate an ongoing investigation into Katie Cruz, which to a degree is fair. What I can say is that Rhee has gotten in contact with a pair of real-life parents of a young child who have had dealings with a real-life person by the name of Callie Miller, who went to high school with Callie Miller, who cut Callie Miller out of their lives after becoming concerned about Callie Miller's interactions with their young female child. So concerned, in fact, that they initiated an order of protection against Callie Miller, an order of protection which was denied by a judge of the name Jennifer Kinsley in 2023. The petitioner has not shown by a preponderance of evidence that harassment has occurred sufficient to justify the issuance of an order of protection. What's more, Rhee told me herself that the parents of this child in question confirmed all the stories Katie had posted and confirmed that Callie was Katie. So at the very least, according to my sources, there is a pair of parents in Indiana with a young child who know Callie from high school, who believe the musings of Katie Cruz on her blog are an account of Katie Cruz's interactions with their child. And these parents cut Callie Miller out of their lives after becoming concerned with her interactions with their child. There's a case to be made here. For the sake of general intellectual integrity, I don't want to claim anything explicitly. I'm sure most of you are making up your own minds about what's probably going on, but I don't want to just shout things out that I don't know for 100%. So following Reed's very public TikTok exposés on Katie Cruz and allegedly Katie Cruz being one and the same as Callie Miller, according to Reed, Katie Cruz went to war with Reed. Katie then initiated a crowdfunding campaign for a defamation suit. I believe it gained about $500 out of like 25,000 or something. Katie's legal fund for defamation suit. This community has given me so much, and I hate to ask for more. As you know, I was targeted by an auntie. For those who don't know, auntie is slang in the should be shot in the head community for someone who's anti-MAP. Auntie by the name of Seara Adair, who is spreading false information about me. Both Seara is Ree, by the way, or her cronies are still harassing me and my family. This isn't going to stop unless we make it stop. I plan to take her and her cronies to court to sue for defamation, harassment, and whatever else applies. I need funding to do that. I can't give it a whole lot of information pending litigation. Oh, yeah, money raised, $545. So, yeah, that'll show them. Now, what's interesting here is that the failed, albeit spirited lawsuit attempt comes from Katie Cruz and not Callie Miller. Katie Cruz online fought back against Seara, aka Reed, very hard, claiming that her and Callie Miller were very different people. Callie Miller is a very public activist in her own right, pushing a lot of generally like American left-wing sort of progressive stances. I've combed through Callie Miller's online activity as much as I'm able to. I've not seen one instance of her saying, I am not this person, I am not Katie Cruz, and I don't support MAPs. I feel like that would be a very easy thing to do. Back when this beef happened, it was a little explosive online. Callie Miller would have definitely had some heat coming her way. She would have had ample opportunity to make a statement just distancing herself from this figure, at least making a claim that she is not this figure. Maybe she did, and it got deleted, and I'm not aware of that archive. But even as it stands in 2025, it's weird that I can't find anything where Callie Miller says, hey, I am not Katie Cruz. There's a bit of an obvious irony here, which is that if Callie Miller is not Katie Cruz, it would very much be in Callie Miller's interest to be the one saying, I'm not Katie Cruz, and also I'm going to sue you for saying that I am a minor attracted person. But instead we have Katie Cruz saying, I'm going to sue you for associating me with this person. It's not really a lot of skin off of Katie Cruz's back to be associated with somebody at this point. You're pretty much the worst thing you could be in the public eye. It would be a lot more skin off of a hypothetically innocent Indiana resident's back, aka Callie Miller, to be associated with a online and yet we hear crickets from that end of the court. Now, what I'm about to present as evidence is not a whole lot more airtight than, hey, Callie and Casey have the same belt or the same jeans or the same blonde wig. However, you know, it's something, it's notable. On Katie Cruz's blog, she has hosted something she calls the Mirror Project, which is a variety of documents, videos, and files which are historically relevant to the MAP community. Some of these are interviews with minor attracted persons throughout history. Things they're concerned will be scrubbed from the public record. Within these files, Katie Cruz also includes a few graphics that she made herself. I'll share one with you now. Here's the MAP flag, and it's just a repeating visual of a minor attracted person's flag, kind of waving in the wind a little bit. This bears a striking resemblance to some graphics presented by a one Callie Miller's the Shelby Lighthouse project. The Shelby Lighthouse is a digital signage board in Shelbyville, Indiana that displays progressive political and social commentary along with the community and public service announcements. An independent shining beacon for democracy and the resistance. It is a monitor that is taped to a window in Callie Miller's house. This is Callie Miller's house. I'm not doxing Callie Miller. This is something they publicly present on the internet as one of their proud achievements. The Shelby Lighthouse has a YouTube channel where they publish all of the graphics that they display through this window for the Shelby community. Here's an example of one. We have the, this is a pride flag of sorts with some, I believe this is the intersex symbol added onto it. And you can see we have the exact same style of animation playing in both of these loops. Now, I don't want to sound too conspiratorial. Again, this isn't any solid proof of anything, but the totality of all these little coincidences really starts to add up. Digital signage is an extremely niche hobby. I didn't even know it was a thing until coming across the Shelby Lighthouse project. It's very strange that we see multiple files on Katie Cruz's website that seem to be tailored for digital signage usage. All very, very strange coincidences, all very concerning. But unfortunately, this is just simply not enough breadcrumbs to fully get us to where we want to go. As I said, I would love to be able to put a pin in this case as much as everyone else. However, we just can't quite get there with this. I think that if Callie Miller is not, in fact, Katie Cruz, it's completely fair at this point for us to expect her to come forward and say, I am not Katie Cruz, and I don't condone minor attracted people. I feel like if you got mixed up in something like this, that'd be a pretty easy way to clear your name. It's interesting that we haven't gotten that, but again, I don't want to throw out accusations without substantial evidence behind them. Is Callie Miller innocent? Is she one and the same with Katie Cruz? We may never know. I'm just kidding. By far, the most damning evidence we can see with our own eyes right now comes from Katie Cruz herself in a podcast episode she did with 2 other maps. In an hour-long interview she did, she several times references both Lucy and her online beef with Ree, aka Seara. Here she uses some very, very interesting verbiage when explaining this situation. She refers to Ree's exposé on her as quote-unquote outing her, and says she had been thinking about coming out herself when this happened, so really, perhaps it was a blessing in disguise.
I figured I was maybe a month or 2 away from coming out. And then Seara Adair, TikTok bitch, just finally, after 2 years, just puts all this stuff together and just outs me. And even though I was planning on coming out, and even though her outing me really didn't affect me, it was still traumatizing because I guess someone else was controlling the narrative. And she was basically questioning for speaking against my character. And that's one of the things that just like really makes me mad. Just basically telling everyone that I was a predator, that I was harming Lucy, and that I had all these bad intentions. But kind of looking back, I think, could that have been a blessing in disguise? Because would I have really come out on my own terms if I was left to my own devices like I wanted to, I had plans to, but would I have just like, maybe I'll hold off?
Recreated her first TikTok on Katie Cruz in February of 2023. But Katie Cruz has been an online activist for minor attracted people since nearly a decade before that. The oldest blog post that's still up on her website dates to May of 2014, titled Christianity and Minor Attraction. So Katie Cruz has had her, quote, ministry of being a minor attracted person's influencer for at least an entire decade before Ree, quote unquote, outed her. So what are we to presume is coming out or being outed to someone who has been a publicly out and proud map for at least a decade as Katie Cruz? The only logical interpretation of what she's saying here is that Ree successfully outed Katie Cruz as Callie Miller. I don't think that Katie Cruz, aka allegedly Callie Miller, really understands what they're admitting in this clip. But I think the only logical way to take this is an admission that Katie Cruz is Callie Miller. So where do we go from here? Well, I feel like we've established so far, one, that Katie Cruz is a very sick individual who absolutely has an intent to harm. Two, that Katie Cruz has strongly implied that she is Callie Miller, and there are a variety of other things tying the two figures together. I think it's important for anyone in a community of which Katie Cruz's IRL counterpart is included in to be aware of exactly how dangerous this person is. I've tried to be as thorough as possible and as fair as possible and not jump to any conclusions because that's how serious this subject matter is. Hey, what's up? My camera died in the middle of that take, but we were pretty much at the end of this. So thank you so much for watching.